Hey. This angle, disgusting. Every time I move somewhere new, I have to figure out the new video angles in the place, and it turns out this flat has terrible ones. So we will work on it, and hopefully next video I will come to you not from a horizontal angle. Hi, so I wanted to talk to you today about the books that I read in the month of September. I ended up coming in I read 11 books. Let's get right into it. First of all, I read the 6th Harry Potter book, reread, nothing to say. Now on to the real show. I read Conditional Citizens on Belonging in America by Leila Lalami. Especially reading this when I did, which was right when the whole Afghanistan debacle was just beginning. I am struck again and again by the Islamophobia that is just a malignant tumor that has been growing for such a long time and was obviously accelerated by 9/11, and how the move for unquestioning nationalism in the wake of 9/11 had such a terrible impact on every single citizen of the United States, regardless of if you think it did or not. I think that this book is a must-read for any American, and also a very powerful reminder that America is not as free as we think it is. This also brought up an excellent point about the linguistic discrimination involved in the words of expat versus immigrant, which is something that I'm super interested in, because we're all on YouTube. We've seen oh, I'm an expat, I live in Italy now, or whatever, versus the word immigrant, which is often used as a derogatory word, even though expat and immigrant mean the same thing. It's just that expats are typically white and rich. So that was definitely very interesting to me. Next, I read The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. Y'all know I love Maggie, and this is no different. The build of the relationship in this, the interpersonal relationships, the family bonds, incredible. She creates characters so well. I think it's one of her main gifts as an author, is her amazing ability to create characters that feel like people you know. Also this quote, I wonder how long it will take for me to feel as adult inside as I look outside. That hits so hard right now. Next, I read The Poppy War by Kf Kwong. This was an excellent fantasy, such complex politics and magic systems and religions and country development, so incredible. The world building of this was just so intense and complex and honestly staggering. I read it in almost one sitting. Next, The Great God Pan by Arthur Machen. This is some flowery purple prose disguising some fuck shit involving non-consensual brain surgery on a minor in the pursuit of reaching another astral plane. In my professional academic opinion, it is whack. A weird little horror novella that I do not recommend anyone read. Next, I read Saving Languages, An Introduction to Language Revitalization by Grenoble and Whaley. This was a fascinating read about the linguistic labor of waking up sleeping languages and what the best ways to do it are. This is such a complex issue, and this book was, my neighbors are so loud. This is such a complex issue that I think is truly not being talked about nearly enough in terms of widespread, yes, people in linguistics are discussing it, but in order for things to actually be accomplished, it will need to be the whole of all that discusses it. This book was exceptionally helpful in laying out the foundations of what that would involve. Not so fun fact, at least half of the world's 6,000 to 7,000 languages will be disappearing within the next century, so that is one language death every 2 weeks. This had me thinking in a whole new way about language itself and conversation and human connection, about the definition and the pros and cons of literacy and what that means for a language, as well as orthography, or the development of the written form for a language that previously was only spoken, and what that means culturally to it. This was so interesting. Highly recommend. Next, The Natural First Aid Handbook by Bridget Mars. I'm just trying to be ready for the apocalypse, man, because it is coming, and I want to be ready. Next, Ohio by Stephen Markley. A story capturing the American Rust Belt and the people and the stories that live there and the pain that a place can hold. Shocking twist ending, truly haunting. I've been trying to get around to reading this for ages, and I'm so glad I finally did. Especially if you're from Ohio, I really recommend reading this. As y'all know, I am from Ohio, so this really hit hard. But honestly, if you're from anywhere in the United States, this is actually another one that was set like right in the wake of 9/11, so I was reading a lot of like that kind of stuff this month. Didn't think about that till just now. Next, I read Blue Horses by Mary Oliver. This is about what it means to be alive and to exist in a world that is so beautiful and so eternal that you can't help remembering that you yourself were not built to last. Ultimately, this is from the titular poem Blue Horses. Maybe the desire to make something beautiful is the piece of God that is inside each of us. Next, I read Bloodlike Magic by Lizelle Sanbury. This is set in futuristic Canada. Black witches, strength, queerness, ancestry, the nightmare that is in existence under capitalism. Trigger warning for horrific descriptions of slavery and violence. Like, I cried several times reading this book. Fascinating in the way that it interrogates what a plugged-in future might look like. This takes place in like the 2040s-ish, 2050s, and it's super cool to see the way that this author takes what our modern world looks like right now and like expands it to see what it might look like decades from now. High stakes enemies to lovers, which, as you know, is just my shit. Also, everyone's family is so complex, and so like there's so many layers, and this book shows that so well. I highly recommend this book. Also, lots of amazing queer rep in this. So finally, I read The Witches of New York by Amy Mckay, with cool characters like a ghost who can't get to heaven because there are telegraph lines in the way, and a romantic alienist war veteran. Just a fascinating story of witchcraft, feminism, queerness, and the American melting pot. So incredibly detailed. Again, the world building in this, amazing. Different languages involved in magic systems, which is a super cool way of integrating like the American melting pot concept. Just an exceptionally well-researched historical fantasy. And this line, which just had me screaming after I read it. She'd never thought of writing as an act of defiance, but those 2 marks proved it to be so. Her need to leave something of herself was overwhelming. I think that's probably the fastest I've ever done a reading wrap-up video. Hopefully it was coherent. I'm settling in really well in Scotland. I love it here. Classes are really busy. School is a lot, so I am definitely still learning how to balance everything, but I really love it here. Let me know what you read this month. If you have any recommendations for me, leave them down in the comments below. I hope y'all are doing real well. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.